When we talk about opening your heart to transformation, it is more than just a passive act of waiting for change to come. It's about a conscious decision to let go of old patterns, beliefs, and limitations that no longer serve you, and to make room for something new and better. Transformation in this sense is deeply spiritual. It's a journey where you open yourself not only to personal growth, but also to the divine guidance that can lead you to a life that is richer, fuller, and more aligned with your purpose. The act of opening your heart is not something that happens overnight. It is a process that requires patience, vulnerability, and faith. For many of us, our hearts are often closed off due to past hurts, disappointments, and fears. We build walls to protect ourselves from the pain of the world. But the more we close ourselves off, the more we distance ourselves from the beauty of life, from the love that is always available to us, and from the miraculous potential that God has designed for us. Opening your heart to transformation means recognizing that you don't have to do it all on your own. It's about trusting that God can take what's broken, what's hurting, and what's unclear and reshape it into something beautiful. It's about acknowledging that despite the challenges and the scars, you are still worthy of love, peace, and purpose. You are still capable of experiencing a deeper connection to the divine and a more meaningful existence. When you open your heart to God, you open the door for Him to work within you and through you, changing you from the inside out. This transformation begins with a willingness to surrender. Surrender is often misunderstood as weakness, but in reality, it is a powerful act of faith. To surrender is to trust that there is a greater plan for your life, that God knows the way even when you don't, and that by releasing control, you make room for miracles. This act of surrender doesn't mean you stop taking responsibility for your actions or that you passively let life happen to you. Rather, it means you acknowledge that there are things beyond your control, and that by placing your trust in God's hands, you are inviting divine guidance into your life. You allow yourself to be shaped and molded into the person you are meant to be. For many, this is the most difficult part of transformation, the willingness to let go. We often hold on to old ways of thinking, old wounds, and old fears because they feel familiar. Even though they no longer serve us, they give us a sense of control or security. Letting go means releasing that false sense of control and embracing the unknown. It's the trust that, even when you don't have all the answers, you are still being guided towards something greater. As you open your heart to God and to transformation, you begin to experience a shift in your mindset. You start to see the world differently, through the lens of possibility instead of limitation. You begin to trust in the power of God's love to heal your wounds, to bring you peace in the midst of chaos, and to guide you toward your higher purpose. This transformation isn't just external. You begin to change the way you view yourself, the way you interact with others, and the way you approach life's challenges. You become more open, more compassionate, and more aligned with God's will for your life. Opening your heart to transformation also means embracing vulnerability. In order to truly change, you must be willing to face the parts of yourself that you've hidden, the parts of your life that are messy, painful, or imperfect. This can be intimidating, but it is in these spaces that God's grace can do its work. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, and it is in those sacred, vulnerable moments that true transformation begins to unfold. There will be moments when it feels like progress is slow, or when you wonder if the transformation is really happening. It's easy to get discouraged and feel like you haven't made any real change. But remember, transformation is a journey, not a destination. It's a lifelong process of becoming, of unfolding, of growing closer to who God created you to be. The important thing is that you keep your heart open, keep trusting, and keep moving forward, even when the road feels uncertain. As you continue to open your heart to transformation, you'll begin to see evidence of that change in your life. You'll notice that you respond to challenges with more grace, that you find strength in moments of weakness, and that your relationships become deeper and more meaningful. You'll begin to feel a sense of peace and fulfillment that comes from knowing that you are living in alignment with God's will for your life. Opening your heart to transformation is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming more authentically you, the person God has always intended you to be. It's about embracing the process of growth, trusting in God's plan, and believing that every moment, no matter how difficult, is a step toward the life you were meant to live. And through that transformation, you will not only experience a deeper connection with God, but you will also become a beacon of light and hope for others who are on their own journey toward transformation. Miracles are often perceived as dramatic, life-altering events that defy logic or scientific explanation. We imagine them as moments of divine intervention, where the impossible becomes possible in a flash. However, the quiet miracles, those that happen in the stillness and the subtleties of everyday life, are just as powerful, if not more so. These small, hidden miracles may not always be noticed at first glance, but they are often the most profound, shaping our lives in ways we don't immediately recognize. They remind us that God's presence doesn't always come with loud signs or visible wonders. One of the most profound aspects of quiet miracles is that they often happen when we least expect them. We may be going through a difficult time, feeling lost or disconnected, and then something small but significant occurs. A change in our perspective, an unexpected act of kindness, a moment of clarity. These moments seem ordinary at first, but when we pause to reflect, we realize they carry a deeper meaning. It could be a friend reaching out at the exact moment we needed support, a chance encounter with someone who says just the right thing, or even a sudden feeling of peace during a time of stress. These are the quiet miracles that often go unnoticed because they don't demand attention, yet they have the power to heal, restore, and bring light into the darkest of places. Quiet miracles also reveal the presence of God in our lives in subtle but profound ways. While many people wait for the grand signs or overt answers to prayer, God's love often works through the small daily moments that we might otherwise take for granted. For example, a simple moment of gratitude in the midst of a difficult day can be a quiet miracle. It's the awareness of how much we have, even when things aren't perfect, and the ability to find joy in the small things. A smile from a stranger, the warmth of the sun, the sound of laughter, the comfort of a familiar place. These moments are reminders that God's grace is ever present, even in the mundane and the ordinary. It is in the quiet miracles that we often see the hand of God working in ways we may never fully understand. For instance, the miracle of a child's laughter, or the healing of a relationship that has been broken for years, can feel as though something divine is at work. But these things don't happen in a single dramatic event. They unfold over time through small acts of love, forgiveness, and patience. A couple's relationship may have been strained, but through years of effort, understanding, and grace, they find a renewed connection. It's not the instant miracle of a sudden, perfect reconciliation, but the quiet miracle of transformation that occurs over time, often unnoticed by the people involved, until they look back and see how far they've come. The quiet miracles also teach us something about the nature of God. God doesn't need to shout to be heard. His presence is felt in the stillness, in the quiet moments of our lives. When we open ourselves to the small, everyday miracles, we begin to cultivate a deeper awareness of His love. It's in the quiet places of our hearts that we can hear His voice most clearly, offering comfort, guidance, and reassurance. These miracles are not flashy, they don't demand our attention, but they are consistent. They remind us that God is always with us, even when we can't see Him. They are gentle nudges, soft whispers that encourage us to keep going, to hold on to faith, and to trust that He is at work in ways we may not yet understand. One of the most significant quiet miracles is the transformation of the human heart. We often think of miracles in terms of physical healing or dramatic shifts in our circumstances, but sometimes the greatest miracle is the change that occurs within us. It's the ability to forgive someone who has wronged us, the courage to let go of resentment, or the strength to love in the face of hurt. These are the quiet miracles that shape who we are as people, guiding us toward growth, healing, and wholeness. The work that God does in our hearts is not always visible to others, but it is felt deeply. It's the transformation of our character, our attitudes, and our perspective that is the true miracle, and it often happens gradually through a series of small moments and decisions that, over time, lead to profound change. There is also a quiet miracle in the way life unfolds, often in ways that we don't understand until much later. Sometimes it's only after looking back on a series of events that we see how God has been guiding us all along. It might be a job loss that leads to a new opportunity, a painful breakup that makes room for personal growth, or an unexpected change that brings new connections and friendships into our lives. These quiet miracles often come disguised as challenges, disappointments, or setbacks, but in hindsight they reveal the delicate hand of divine timing, showing us that every event, no matter how small, is part of a larger, greater plan. The beauty of quiet miracles is that they don't require us to do anything extraordinary. They simply require us to be present and open to the subtle ways in which God works in our lives. They are the little things that bring us back to a place of peace, joy, and gratitude. They encourage us to see the sacred in the ordinary, to find beauty in the mundane, and to recognize that the miraculous doesn't always come in the form of grand gestures or spectacular events. Sometimes it's the quiet, hidden moments that hold the most profound significance. And when we start to notice these moments, we realize that the miracle is not just in the event itself, but in the awareness that we are being gently led by the hand of God every single day. Life is filled with challenges, hardships, and moments that test our strength and resilience. Struggles can take many forms: personal loss, financial difficulties, health problems, or even emotional battles that leave us feeling drained and defeated. In these times of hardship, it's easy to feel alone, hopeless, and overwhelmed. Yet, it's often in these very struggles that we discover a deeper strength within ourselves, one that we may not even have known existed before. The strength found in struggles is not something we can easily predict or control. It is forged in the fires of adversity, tested through moments of pain and uncertainty, and shaped by the trials that seem to weigh us down. While it may seem counterintuitive to think of strength as something that emerges through hardship, it is precisely in these challenging moments that we are given the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become more than we were before. One of the most important aspects of strength in struggles is the way it changes our perspective. When everything feels like it's falling apart, it's easy to get caught up in negative thinking, focusing solely on the pain or the problem in front of us. However, when we allow ourselves to shift our perspective, we begin to see that struggles are not just obstacles, they are opportunities for growth. Difficult times give us the chance to reevaluate our priorities, question what truly matters, and realign ourselves with our deeper values. Struggling through adversity can reveal truths about ourselves that we may have never known, helping us to find new purpose and direction in our lives. Another key aspect of strength in struggles is the realization that we don't have to face challenges alone. It is easy to become isolated in our pain, to feel like no one else can understand what we are going through. However, true strength comes from the ability to lean on others, whether that's friends, family, or even our faith. When we allow ourselves to reach out, we create space for others to offer their love, wisdom, and guidance. This is where the power of community comes into play. Sometimes, the strength we need comes not from within ourselves, but from the people who surround us. For many, faith becomes a powerful source of strength in times of struggle. When everything else feels uncertain, our faith can provide the steady foundation upon which we stand. The belief that there is a higher purpose, that God is with us even in the darkest of times, can give us the courage to face the unknown. Faith doesn't remove the struggle, but it provides us with the strength to endure it. It reminds us that we are not alone, that we are loved, and that there is a greater plan at work, even when we can't see it. Faith encourages us to hold on, even when it seems like all hope is lost. It teaches us that our struggles are not permanent, but that they have a purpose in shaping us into who we are meant to become. Strength in struggles is also about resilience, the ability to bounce back after setbacks. It's about not letting failures or challenges define us, but instead using them as stepping stones towards something greater. Resilience is not about avoiding pain or difficulty, but about learning how to rise again after falling. It's the ability to keep going even when we feel like giving up, to continue moving forward one step at a time, even if it's only a small step. The more we practice resilience, the stronger we become, and the more equipped we are to face future challenges with grace and courage. Resilience teaches us that we are not defined by our circumstances, but by how we respond to them. Another aspect of strength in struggles is the development of patience and perseverance. In a world where instant gratification is often the norm, it can be difficult to embrace the slower, more difficult path. But sometimes true strength comes in the form of waiting for healing, waiting for clarity, waiting for things to fall into place. The ability to persevere through tough times without rushing the process is a mark of inner strength. Patience allows us to trust that, even when things don't unfold as quickly as we'd like, there is progress happening beneath the surface. It helps us to let go of our need for control and to surrender to the timing of life. In the end, it's this patience that helps us grow stronger, because it teaches us to trust, to endure, and to remain steady even when we can't see the outcome. Strength in struggles is also about learning to let go. Often our struggles are fueled by our attachment to things, people, or outcomes that we believe will bring us happiness or peace. When those things are threatened or lost, we experience pain. However, true strength lies in the ability to release those attachments and trust that we can still be whole without them. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means allowing ourselves the freedom to move forward, unburdened by the past or by things we cannot control. It means trusting that, even in the midst of loss, we can find peace and fulfillment in the present moment. As we continue to navigate life's struggles, we begin to realize that strength doesn't always come from physical power or mental toughness. It comes from a deep inner resolve to keep going, to keep growing, and to keep believing that something better is ahead. It comes from the ability to trust that every struggle, no matter how difficult, is an opportunity to learn, to heal, and to become the person we were meant to be. In the end, strength in struggles is not just about surviving, it's about thriving. It's about using the challenges we face as fuel to become more compassionate, more resilient, and more connected to the truth of who we are. It's about transforming our pain into power, our obstacles into opportunities, and our struggles into stepping stones on the path to a brighter, more meaningful life. There are moments in life when we feel completely lost, unsure of where we are headed or why we're even on the path we're walking. It's easy to look at our daily struggles, disappointments, and setbacks and wonder if there's any greater purpose behind it all. We may question the reason behind each twist and turn, each bump in the road, and each moment of uncertainty. But what if there is a purpose, an unseen, divine purpose woven into every step we take, even the ones that seem meaningless or painful? The idea of an unseen purpose in every step is rooted in the belief that our lives are not random or without meaning. Even when we can't see it, every experience, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem, plays a role in shaping us and leading us towards something greater. The challenges we face, the relationships we build, and even the quiet moments of solitude and reflection all serve as pieces in a much larger puzzle. And while we may not always understand the full picture, there is comfort in knowing that there is a purpose unfolding in ways we might not be able to perceive at the time. At the heart of this idea is the belief that our lives are not just the result of chance or circumstance. We are each part of a greater plan, one that is far beyond our understanding. It's easy to feel as though we are wandering aimlessly through life, disconnected from any deeper meaning. Yet, in every moment, we are being shaped by experiences and guided by forces beyond our comprehension. And the path we walk is not accidental. Each step we take is part of a larger design that is being revealed to us bit by bit. Even the moments of confusion, the times when we feel like we're standing still or moving backward, are part of this unseen purpose. They serve to teach us lessons, build our character, and help us grow in ways we may not immediately recognize. Sometimes the purpose behind each step becomes clearer only in retrospect. It's often only after we've walked a certain distance that we can look back and see how all the pieces fit together. We may look at the challenges we faced and realize that they strengthened us, or we may see how a seemingly random encounter with someone changed the course of our lives. We may understand, looking back, that the heartbreak, the disappointment, or the failure we thought was the end of the road was actually a stepping stone that led us to something better, something we never could have imagined. In those moments, we begin to see how each step was part of a greater purpose, even though we couldn't see it in real time. In many ways, the unseen purpose of every step is about trust. It's about trusting that there is a reason for everything, even when we don't fully understand it. Life is full of unknowns, and it's easy to become frustrated when things don't go according to plan. But by trusting that each step we take, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, is part of a divine design, we can move forward with a sense of peace and assurance. Trusting in this unseen purpose doesn't mean we have all the answers or that everything will always make sense. It simply means that we choose to believe that there is a greater plan unfolding, even if we can't see it right now. This kind of trust requires patience. It's about letting go of the need to control every aspect of our lives and accepting that some things are beyond our understanding. It's about learning to surrender to the process and trusting that even the moments of struggle and pain are leading us towards something greater. When we can let go of our need for immediate answers and allow ourselves to be guided, we open ourselves to the possibility of discovering purpose in the most unexpected places. An essential part of recognizing the unseen purpose in every step is being present in the moment. Often, we are so focused on the future or the past that we fail to see the beauty and meaning of the present. We may be preoccupied with what's next, or we may be carrying the weight of past regrets, and in doing so we miss the opportunities for growth and learning that are available to us in the here and now. By staying present, by taking each step with mindfulness and intention, we become more attuned to the subtle ways in which life is unfolding. The purpose behind our steps is often revealed in the quiet moments, those times when we slow down, listen to our hearts, and notice the small details that make life meaningful. As we walk through life with this awareness, we begin to understand that the purpose of our journey is not always about achieving a specific goal or reaching a particular destination. It's about the process, the growth, the learning, the relationships, and the experiences that shape us along the way. Our steps are not just about moving forward, but about becoming who we are meant to be. And even when we don't see the lesson right away, there is a deeper meaning behind it, waiting to be uncovered when the time is right. The idea of an unseen purpose also extends to the way we impact others. We may not always realize how our actions, no matter how small, affect those around us. A kind word, a moment of encouragement, or a simple gesture of love can have ripple effects that we may never fully understand. We may never know the full extent of how our presence in someone's life has shaped their journey, but trust that it has. Each step we take can lead us to the right place at the right time, where we can touch the lives of others in ways that are part of the larger tapestry of God's design. Ultimately, recognizing the unseen purpose in every step of our lives brings a sense of peace and assurance. We begin to let go of the pressure to control everything and start trusting that life is unfolding exactly as it is meant to. We learn to embrace the unknown, to move forward with faith, and to find meaning in the journey, even when we can't see the full picture. And in doing so, we become more attuned to the purpose that has always been there, quietly guiding us every step of the way. Forgiveness and love are two of the most powerful forces in the world. Together, they have the ability to heal wounds, bridge divides, and restore peace in places that seem beyond repair. But while they are both transformative, they are often among the most difficult practices to embrace fully. Forgiveness requires us to let go of hurt, resentment, and the desire for retribution, while love calls us to open our hearts, even when it feels risky or a life rooted in forgiveness and love, however, can lead to profound personal growth and create deep, meaningful connections that transcend the trials we face. At the heart of forgiveness is the understanding that holding on to anger and resentment only hurts ourselves. When someone wrongs us, whether intentionally or not, it's natural to feel pain, betrayal, or anger. Our initial reaction is often to seek justice, to demand that the person who hurt us acknowledge their wrongdoing and make amends. But as we hold on to that hurt, it begins to poison us from the inside out. The bitterness we carry doesn't affect the person who wronged us nearly as much as it affects our own peace of mind. When we choose to forgive, we free ourselves from the weight of that burden. Forgiveness isn't about excusing bad behavior or forgetting the pain. It's about choosing to release the hold that anger and hurt have over us. It's about finding the strength to move forward unburdened by the past. Forgiveness is not a one-time event. It's a process. It's a decision we make every day to let go of the negative emotions that keep us tethered to old wounds. This process can be slow and challenging, especially when the hurt runs deep, but the rewards of forgiveness are immeasurable. It allows us to heal, to reclaim our peace, and to open ourselves to the possibility of reconciliation. But even if reconciliation with the person who hurt us isn't possible, forgiveness still allows us to find freedom. It's a gift we give ourselves, not for the benefit of the other person, but for the restoration of our own hearts. Love, on the other hand, is the foundation upon which forgiveness is built. Love calls us to see beyond the mistakes, the imperfections, and the failures of others, and to recognize their inherent worth. It challenges us to love, not just those who are easy to love, but also those who have hurt or disappointed us. To live a life of love means to see others through a lens of grace, to recognize that they too are human, capable of making mistakes, but also worthy of care, respect, and dignity. Loving others, especially those who have wronged us, requires vulnerability. It means opening ourselves up to the possibility of being hurt again, of taking risks, and of choosing to act in kindness even when we don't feel like it. But love isn't a passive emotion, it's an active choice. It's choosing to put others' needs before our own, to show empathy and understanding, and to extend grace when it's hardest to do so. Love doesn't seek revenge or harbor grudges. It seeks to build bridges, to heal wounds, and to create a space where both parties can grow. To live a life of forgiveness and love also means to forgive ourselves. Often we are our own harshest critics, holding on to guilt and shame for past mistakes. We carry the weight of our own failures and wrongdoings, often believing that we are unworthy of forgiveness or love. But just as we extend grace to others, we must also extend it to ourselves. Self-forgiveness is essential for personal growth and emotional well-being. It allows us to let go of past mistakes, to stop defining ourselves by our shortcomings, and to move forward with a sense of hope and possibility. By forgiving ourselves, we create the space to learn from our mistakes, to make amends where possible, and to grow into the best version of ourselves. In a world that often values achievement, success, and perfection, forgiveness and love may seem counterintuitive. We're taught to seek justice, to stand up for ourselves, and to never let anyone walk all over us. While there's nothing wrong with standing up for our rights, it's essential to remember that forgiveness and love don't make us weak. On the contrary, they require immense strength. It takes strength to forgive someone who has hurt us, to choose love when we've been wronged, and to open our hearts despite the risk of pain. A life rooted in forgiveness and love also brings a sense of freedom and peace that is unmatched. When we forgive, we let go of the chains that bind us to the past. We free ourselves from the cycle of hurt, anger, and bitterness that can define so many relationships. Love allows us to create a new narrative, one where we see others as they truly are, not defined by their mistakes, but by their potential for growth and change. When we embrace forgiveness and love, we create space for healing, for personal growth, and for deeper connections with those around us. Ultimately, a life of forgiveness and love is about embracing the human experience in all its complexity. It's about recognizing that everyone, including ourselves, is imperfect, but that this imperfection doesn't negate our worth. By living with a heart full of forgiveness and love, we begin to embody the qualities that make life meaningful: empathy, understanding, compassion, and grace. It's a way of living that transforms not only our own lives, but the lives of those we touch. By choosing forgiveness, we invite healing. By choosing love, we invite connection. Together, they create a life that is rich, fulfilling, and full of purpose. In the fast pace of modern life, it's easy to overlook the miraculous moments that surround us every day. We are often caught up in the grind of work, the busyness of responsibilities, and the constant demands of our digital lives. Yet, when we take a moment to pause and reflect, we realize that the miraculous is not confined to extraordinary events or once-in-a-lifetime experiences. It is present in the simplest, most ordinary moments, if we're willing to see it. Embracing the miraculous in everyday life means recognizing that every moment is filled with the potential for wonder, transformation, and grace. To begin with, the very act of waking up each morning is a miracle in itself. It's easy to take for granted the gift of a new day, especially when we're rushing to meet deadlines or trying to keep up with the demands of daily life. But when we stop to think about it, the fact that we are alive, breathing, and able to experience another day is an extraordinary gift. Life, with all its complexities, is fragile, and yet we continue to move through it, often unaware of the divine presence that sustains us. The sun rises every day, casting light on the world, and with it comes the chance for new beginnings, growth, and possibility. If we begin to see each morning as a fresh opportunity, full of potential, we begin to appreciate the beauty and grace of life itself. Then there are the moments of connection we experience with others. Every conversation, every smile, every act of kindness has the potential to be a miraculous exchange. When we share a laugh with a friend, offer a word of encouragement to a colleague, or hold the hand of a loved one in times of need, we create a space where healing can occur. These moments are not just exchanges of words or actions. They are moments of shared humanity, of grace being exchanged from one person to another. In a world where so much can feel divisive and disconnected, these small acts of connection are, in their own way, miracles. Embracing the miraculous also means seeing the beauty in nature. The world around us is a constant reminder of the divine hand at work. Every sunset, every flower that blooms, every rustling of leaves in the wind speaks of something greater than ourselves. Nature is a language through which we can feel the presence of something vast and awe-inspiring. The way the seasons change, the patterns of the stars above, and the intricate designs of life all point to a deeper, unspoken truth about the world we live in. When we take the time to pause and simply observe the world around us, whether it's the majesty of a mountain range, the quiet calm of a river, or the delicate flutter of a butterfly's wing, these moments are reminders that there is something far greater at work in the universe than we often realize. Even in times of hardship, the miraculous can be found. It's easy to view struggles and challenges as obstacles or burdens to bear, but when we look more deeply, we begin to see how they shape us. Growth often comes in the most unlikely of places. The tough seasons of life, whether they involve illness, loss, or personal trials, can be the very things that bring about our greatest transformation. They test our strength, deepen our compassion, and stretch our capacity for love and understanding. The miracle is not necessarily in the absence of hardship, but in the resilience and strength we find within ourselves as we face these challenges. Through adversity, we discover our own capacity for grace, forgiveness, and perseverance. And in that process, we become more aligned with the divine. Another way to embrace the miraculous in everyday life is by recognizing the small miracles that often go unnoticed. These are the moments that might seem insignificant at first, but are full of meaning and beauty once we pay attention. It could be the feeling of warmth on your skin on a cool day, The way your child's eyes light up when they see you, or the sense of peace that washes over you when you take a deep breath. These are the quiet miracles of life, those fleeting moments of joy, connection, and grace that fill our hearts if we are present enough to notice them. In a world that constantly pushes us to move faster and accomplish more, it can be easy to miss these simple gifts. But when we slow down and practice mindfulness, we allow ourselves to recognize the miraculous in the everyday. Moreover, embracing the miraculous in everyday life calls us to a deeper sense of gratitude. When we begin to see the miracles in the small things, we cultivate a heart of thankfulness. Gratitude shifts our perspective, reminding us that life is not just about what we lack, but about what we already have. It turns ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. The simple act of sitting down for a meal becomes a blessing when we acknowledge the abundance that surrounds us. The act of taking a walk through the park transforms into a sacred ritual when we appreciate the beauty of nature that is all around us. Gratitude opens our eyes to the miracles that are already present in our lives, helping us to see them more clearly and embrace them fully. The miraculous is not always about large-scale, life-changing events. It's found in the quiet moments of daily life, in the connections we share, in the beauty of nature, and in the strength we find within ourselves. We begin to see that the divine is not something distant or far away, but something that is intimately present in every aspect of our lives. Each step we take, each person we meet, each breath we take, these are all part of a much larger, miraculous story that we are a part of.